Hey, how's it going, guys? It's Scarecrow and welcome back to another Call of Duty video, and today we're going to be talking about Infinite Warfare. I know, touchy subject for a lot of people, and for a lot of people it's an instant turn off, but for me it's a tragic tale of a game that could have been incredible, had so much potential, and was left to die by a studio that loved it to death. Which in itself is a really weird, interesting, and contradictory sentence. How can a studio love something and yet let it die at the same time? Well, the answer lies in the PC port, which is what I'm focusing on. After all, I'm a PC Call of Duty channel, and today I just wanted to talk a little bit about Infinite Warfare. If you talk to the average person about Infinite Warfare, most of them, the same thing. That Infinite Warfare sucked, it was terrible, it's a garbage game, not what the community wanted, and they stopped playing it, or they never played it. I've heard that from so many people, echoed across so many comment sections, from real life conversations, to people on Reddit forums and Steam forums. Just about anywhere there was a discussion about Infinite Warfare, there was a discussion about how terrible it was, how Infinity Ward has lost their way as the developer, and that the game just deserved to crash and burn. Which it did, and for a lot of people it was a very smug feeling that they were proven right. In a lot of ways, Infinite Warfare crashed, burned, got sunk, blew up, got military executed to the face in a lot of ways. And for me, the saddest part of it was that, like I said, Infinity Ward loves Infinite Warfare. And you can see it in every form of the game. From the amazing story of the campaign that has the prestigious title of being the second game to ever make me tear up. That campaign gave me chills, and while being incredibly cliched throughout the entire thing, I really enjoyed it. To the crazy, weird, and hectic zombies mode that was incredibly different from anything we'd seen in terms of zombies in third modes, and still stands on its own as being, while incredibly niche and didn't appeal to a lot of people, still being a certainly unique and worth talking about mode. From its aesthetic, to its themes, and to its interesting characters and story. And then onto the bread and butter, of course, the multiplayer, where chaos ran wild, we had robot dogs running around, we had crazy Borderlands style variants, advanced movement, crazy equipment that allowed you to regen on the fly, throw portable black holes, to throwing knives that actually explode when they hit a target. That's not even mentioning the crazy abilities that allowed you to rewind time, go invisible, have crazy reactive armor, or carrying a pistol that literally turns you into dust. It truly was an interesting multiplayer, and truth be told, I had a ton of fun with it in the short time that I actually got to experience it before it completely died out on PC. It improved upon many of the features that Black Ops 3 completely failed with, in terms of the specialist abilities and their balancing, supply drops, earning weapons, earning currency, and your progression in the multiplayer. In a lot of ways, Infinite Warfare did a lot of things right. But if a game did all of this right, how could it have failed? Well, in my mind it was two things. The first thing being prejudice. The Call of Duty community is nothing if not passionate. When they love something, they love something. And when they hate something, well, hell hath no fury, like a COD player scorned. And Infinite Warfare was scorned from the second that it was announced, with the reveal trailer quickly becoming one of the most hated and downvoted videos on all of YouTube. You've all seen and heard about the downvotes and the whole Infinite Warfare memes, I'm sure. But behind it all was a really nasty way of thinking towards a passion project from a studio that clearly loved their game. Imagine being a member of the Infinity Ward team, working on Infinite Warfare, pouring your heart and soul into that game, being so excited to show the world this project that you've been working on for so long, and then being absolutely slammed within an inch of your life the second that you reveal it. It must have been so disheartening to sit there and watch something that you've worked on for years get torn apart before it even is released. Before it even has a chance to prove itself, it has been judged and sent off to die in the minds of so many Call of Duty players. I've always had some sympathy towards Infinity Ward for Infinite Warfare in this regard. But that being said, this brings us onto the second and most important part of why Infinite Warfare failed on PC, and that is there was nothing to back up all that passion. All that time and effort that went into Infinite Warfare stopped after the game was released. On PC, the game opened to fairly decent player numbers. The game was alive for the first couple months, but the problem was, it was already dead in the water. None of us just knew it at that point. Because as soon as people found out there was hardly any anti-cheat in the multiplayer, well, it became a hacker's playground. And within days of the game being launched, there was aimbotters, spinbotters, wall hacks, aimbot, spinbot, wall hacks floating around everywhere. It was nearly impossible to get into a lobby that wasn't infested with hackers. And that player count dropped almost overnight, actually. It was crazy to see the amount of people that left the game in absolute droves. Within a month of the game being out, it was hard to find lobbies. Within 2 months of the game being out, I couldn't even find a lobby. Within 3 months, I'd pretty much given up on the game. It was incredibly disappointing because all Infinity Ward had to do to prove to the Call of Duty fanbase, especially the PC fanbase, was that this game was competent and it was worth taking a look at. Black Ops 3 isn't perfect in many ways. In fact, there are a lot of ways where I severely dislike it, but one thing I can't deny is that it had a solid launch and a pretty dedicated list of PC features and a decent anti-cheat. Sure, you ran across hackers, but they never lasted very long and they weren't very frequent. Only the most determined stuck around, and before long they were banned as well. Whereas Infinite Warfare, the passionate, dedicated fans that actually really enjoyed the game were punished for playing it by a dev team that was either too crushed by the overwhelmingly negative reception to care, or simply didn't have the resources or even care about the PC platform overall. A lot of my friends that I've talked to that play Call of Duty agree with me that Infinite Warfare isn't a bad game. In fact, it's actually a really fun game. In many ways, it's the kind of Call of Duty that I enjoy. I enjoy the futuristic movement. I enjoy jumping around the map, leaping from head glitch to head glitch. Just the freedom of movement that the mouse and keyboard allows really lends itself to the type of movement that Infinite Warfare has. The gunplay was solid. The optimization was actually really good on the game, which is nothing to scoff about. There are so many times where games launch in broken states and are nearly unplayable due to frame rates and poor performance, but Infinite Warfare wasn't that. It launched with hardly needing a patch at all, and aside from the really crappy 91 FPS cap that Infinity Ward seems to love in all of their projects, the game ran really well and looked damn good too. All we required was a decent anti-cheat and the game would have thrived, or at least limped along throughout the remainder of the year. But after a couple months, it was nearly impossible to find a lobby, and I, along with so many others, were forced to quit, leaving only a few hundred players left willing to stick it out in the most populated areas like North America and Europe. Me, in my region of Asia Pacific in Australia, didn't have a chance when it came to lobbies. I used to sit in lobbies for upwards of 20 minutes trying to queue, and the game refused to put me in higher ping connection lobbies because of the matchmaking. I was so excited to go for all the camos, to go for Black Sky, Road to Diamond Pistols. I had it all planned out, and I was forced to cancel so many series and video ideas that I had planned for the game. A whole year's worth of content had to stop because of a dev team that gave up on a PC port. And even on Xbox and PlayStation, the game had record low player counts. And if the best-selling annual franchise every single year is struggling for numbers on its most popular platforms, then what hope does PC have? The answer is absolutely none. Now the game sits at around 100 to 300 players on its busiest of nights. A lot of those players are playing zombies or the campaign, and the game still sits at full price on Steam. Now, I'm going to draw comparisons to a game that doesn't actually have a lot to do, if anything, with the Call of Duty franchise at all, and that is Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege opened to lukewarm critical reception and fan reception. In many ways, it was a broken game on launch that not many people enjoyed, but now it sits amongst one of the most played games on Steam consecutively day after day. How, you might ask? Well, Ubisoft, with their dedicated team, decided that they weren't going to give up on the project. And with the help of free weekends, constant free updates and patches, balancing tweaks, new content, and a detailed roadmap of what was to come, they earned back the respect and love of their fan base. Infinite Warfare had that chance. It had the chance to prove that it was worth playing. It had the chance to prove that it was worth your time. And Infinity Ward squandered that. Whether that was their choice or their hands were forced, I guess we'll never know. But now it's sent in my Steam library along with many other dead multiplayer games, leaving me wondering what might have been. Anyway guys, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I just felt like talking about Infinite Warfare a bit. I was thinking about it tonight, and I saw a gameplay that reminded me how much fun I actually had in the game, and how much I would have actually liked to continue playing it. Let me know what you guys actually think about Infinite Warfare down below. Try to keep the discussion at least a little bit intelligent. If you like the game, let me know why. If you hate the game, let me know why, without the usual reasons of it's bad because it's bad, or it's bad because someone told me it's bad. But anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more, and I shall see you, beautiful people, in the next video.